Thank you, Kevin, and highest good. What a great blessing. And I want to welcome everyone on our online community. If you're joining us online this morning, welcome. So glad you chose to join us. And for those of you that are here today, you got up, you made it up on the first day of the new year. You never know. You could have chosen to sleep in. I'm just knowing you all got to bed early last night so you could be here this morning, right? And for those of you at home, welcome. I'm just so pleased you're here. And I just want to acknowledge Reverend Kitty, who is taking, I'm sure, a much welcome Sabbath today to prepare for the new year. That's something that's a great thing for a minister to be able to do, and just to take that time. And I'll encourage you to do the same thing today, of course. You know, on the first day of the year, whatever your practice may be or may have been in the past, or whatever moves you today, whether it's just to hang out, do nothing, plan for the year, meditate, it doesn't matter. Whatever works for you is all good, right? And hopefully we'll take away some things this morning, which is what I'm hoping to do. Because on the first day of the year, it really is a sacred honor and somewhat of a responsibility to do the first talk of the year. It's the first talk we're all hearing in 2023. No pressure there, right? So, you know, if you're planning on walking away with something amazing or special today, that's great. I hope you do, and I hope there's something that speaks to you and talks to you. Because when I do this talk, when I did it, and Mary Beth and I both try to do this, we try to say things we need to hear for ourselves. And that's the goal. What do I need to know today for myself? What's been going on in my life, present time? So I want to start by, first of all, just affirming something we do in unity and all new thoughts, putting a new idea in mind, an affirmation for the year. So what I'm going to affirm right now, that this year of 2023 is the best year ever up until now, bringing greater joy, love, peace, harmony, and prosperity to each of our lives and for this entire planet. And this world needs more of that, doesn't it? We need more of this new thought. So don't take it lightly what you're doing here today. You're not only here for yourself, but you're also bringing a greater vibration to this planet. You're hoping to lift up the idea for this planet that this can be a better place and continues to unfold into a greater place. So I said this morning I'm talking about the power of a beginner's mind. And it's such a great theme to do at the beginning of the year. And we can go back to, I don't often go back to Bible passages. I do now and then, but I can go back on this day to one of the most powerful passages, and there's so many in the Old Testament and New Testament, but in the Old Testament, the very beginning, right? Genesis chapter 1, the very beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void. And darkness was upon the face of the deep. I'm supposed to do it in a darkness was on the face of the deep. Is that more powerful, right? And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the water, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. If you think about that from a metaphysical perspective, and that's really what we do in New Thought and Unity and all the New Thought teachings, we look at things metaphysically, right? Beyond the senses, beyond what we're seeing, touching, feeling. We try to go into something much deeper about what's really happening here. From a metaphysical perspective, what's being said in that passage is about creation, but not creation as we may have learned that story of something that happened once upon a time, long ago and far away, right? It's about something that's happening right now. It's something happening through you and me right now in each and every moment. It's an ongoing act of creation, that spirit, this intelligence, this divine power, this universal knowingness, whatever you want to call it Jesus, call it Christ, call it Buddha, whatever name you choose to call it God, is moving through you and me in each and every moment through our consciousness, where we have choice of how we create our expression of life. The thing is, for many of us, when we got into this teaching, we didn't necessarily know we had choice. And I'll speak first person for myself. When I got in this teaching some 30 years ago, I didn't know I had choice. I remember my minister, first pastor down at First Church in Chicago of Religious Science, said, he told us we had choice of what we think about. I said, it totally blew me away. I said, well, my thinking is my thinking. So you can change your thinking. And when you change your thinking, we say what? Change your thinking, change your life. It sounds simple, right? It is a simple idea, but it's not so easy sometimes to apply, right? And that's why we show up on every Sunday and why we take classes and do workshops and do things like that, is so that we can raise our consciousness up and continue to do this work, even in the face of the world of effects and experiences that we each go through and are going on in the world around us. It's up to each of us to continue to lift our consciousness up. The master teacher, Jesus, once said it like this. He said, "It is done unto us as we believe." And I like to put that in the first person. It's done unto me as I believe. In other words, what I think about, I bring about. Constantly, every moment. Starting in this day, I get to make some choices knowing that. I get to choose about, is what I'm thinking about and bringing about working for me, right? And that sometimes is a hard one to swallow because, effects are pretty real, right? We're living in a world where we see things like the pandemic's been going on, and we have other stuff economically happening out there. We have relationships in our life, and those are all real. We don't deny that. I certainly don't deny it. But what I do is not give power onto those effects. Do you see the difference on that? And we can each choose not to say that I'm not bound by what's going on out there. I can choose to change how I think about what's going on out there. And in doing that, I start making an impact on life. Each of us does. So to be like a child is really key here. The power of a beginner's mind, of being like, Mary Beth's ushering me over because I'm getting out. Am I getting out of this frame there? I'm a wanderer. You'll probably, now, I don't mention this, I haven't spoken here in a while, but you probably remember a few years ago, those of you who were here, before they redid this stage, because I'm a wanderer, I actually fell off the stage at one point. I did. But I have a good balance, and I did not go down. The power of a beginner's mind, though, is to be like a child. And that the master teacher told us that to enter the kingdom of heaven, you have to be like a child. What did he mean by that? He meant to have a clean slate, a blank slate. If I want, the kingdom of heaven is within me, it's within you. If I want to live in my kingdom of heaven, which is probably going to look somewhat different than yours possibly, then I have to be open and receptive to new ideas of looking at life. I have to be open to accepting the possibilities, new possibilities, and that means I have to practice humility. Oh, that's a big one, right? I have to be humble and willing to dismantle. It's one of our teachers, Dr. Maria Nemeth, used to say that. Am I willing to dismantle my structure of knowing? My structure of knowing is everything I know about life as I know it, how the world works. And we were all bought into this a long time ago when we were children. Now, I want to share this. Some of you may have heard this quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. He said, "Let us take our bloated nothingness out of the path of the divine circuits." I've got to get my bloated nothingness out of the way to be like a child and to get back to a blank slate, right? It might be a little bit of ego. It might be that bloated nothingness, but I've got it happening within me, and most of us do. So this idea of being like a child, being open and receptive, is just great, and I think so many of us can associate with it. We just had our grandkids here yesterday at our house, our 5-year-old and 7-year-old, and I got to be like a child a bit myself. I was down on the floor playing with Legos. I'm glad to be here now and not doing that. We did a puzzle with our 5-year-old granddaughter, and that was a lot of fun. So there was a first grade teacher who decided to experiment with this. And this teacher collected old proverbs. That was something she liked to do. So she decided to do a test, and she gave each child in her, and this was first grade, her first grade class, she gave them half of a proverb and asked them to complete the rest of it. Here's just a few of what things that came up. Okay? As you make your bed, so shall you, kids added, mess it up. First grade. It's better to be safe than punch a fifth grader. Don't bite the hand that looks dirty. If you lie down with the dogs, you'll stink in the morning. And then finally, I love this one. Laugh and the whole world laughs with you. Cry and you have to blow your nose. So, it's so smart, right? Why'd we make all this other stuff up? That's the beginner's mind. Some of you know Mary Beth, Reverend Mary Beth, who is my wife, has been doing, yay, I'll take an applause for that. She has been doing something called Monday Morning Metaphysics for many years now. I don't know how many years that's been going on. It's been a long time. It's been 7, 8 years or something longer, 10, 8, maybe 18. But anyway, she's been doing this group for a long time, and I know some of you participate in that. It's online now. Started out as being live, but now it's online, and several churches participate. We have people coming from all over the country, actually, and there's always a new book that's being rotated into. And by the way, this is on 10:30 on Monday morning, so it's commercial here too, but it's always open. It's open. It's just love offering. It's open anytime you can jump in and want to jump in, even if it's for one day or you want to just keep going like many people do. But they just started a new book last week, which is a classic book by an author by the name of Don Miguel Ruiz called The Four Agreements. And a lot of you probably have read that book before, or at least heard of it. And whether you've read it before or just heard of it, never heard of it, it's fabulous. It's really a great book. It's a very simple, easy read, but very wonderful, deep ideas going on within it and practical ideas. It's a great book. So Don Miguel says early in this book, he says that we are all, I'm being ushered back here again. I love it. Love to toy with the camera a little bit. Hello, everyone out there. So, Don Miguel said that we all were domesticated, that the planet has been domesticated over time. He teaches something called Toltec wisdom. He is that's from South America, an ancient teaching. And so he said that basically when we were children, we essentially bought into ideas that were given to us. Ideas from the world around us, we call that race beliefs, okay? The beliefs of the planet, the beliefs of our community, the beliefs of our culture, the beliefs of, and then you filter that down to your family. And so I've often heard in the past that some psychologists have said by the time we're 5 years old, 80% of our subjectified thoughts and beliefs are already embedded within our subconscious mind. And I don't know who came up with that percentage, but I kind of believe it. I think it's a lot. So we go around carrying these old thoughts and beliefs that Don Miguel is referring to as domestication of the planet, or how we're supposed to be. How am I supposed to act? How am I supposed to behave? How am I supposed to show up? And we carry that on there. So we then start growing up and opening our eyes over time, and hopefully we open the eyes. For some of us, it takes a while. I didn't get into this type of teaching until I was in my latter 30s, I think. And it was, probably some 30 years ago or so, whenever it was. I'm not going to date myself now. I don't want to do that. But it's been a long time, and it was a blessing, and it's continued to be a blessing to be around this, because the key was whether you want to say I was domesticated or however I want to put it, I had a set of beliefs I was walking around in that was creating my experience of life that was not always working so great for me. Some cases it was working great, other cases not so great. But the key was I was unaware. I was unaware that I could do something about it, that I could change those old thoughts and beliefs, wherever they came from, whether they came from my parents, my family, the kids around me, whatever. But I had some choices. I realized when I got into this type of teaching, unity, new thought, that I could actually change those ideas once I became aware of them. And Mary Beth and I say that's the ABCs of consciousness. Awareness builds consciousness. Awareness. Once I become aware of something, I can deal with it. I can do something with it. I can work with it. So little by little, over the years, I started chipping away at those beliefs, and I'm still continuing to do it. You know, when I was young, and when we're all young, it's easy to see beyond the constraints of the world. We're probably not so focused as much on physical constraints outside of what our parents tell us we can or can't do. But it's easy to go into imagination, right? To be someone totally different than we are. As I grew up, though, and as most of us grow up, it became increasingly difficult for me to see beyond the appearances. I'd get caught up in them, and I still pretend to get caught up in them. Until we bring in this idea of new thought, that I can change something, I can change what I'm thinking about. A beginner's mind, in my way of looking at it, is about getting back to the garden. The garden of knowing that things are here to support me, God is here to support me, that I'm not bound by appearances, and because I'm not bound by appearances, I can move beyond the appearances in my life. It's about being humble, because that's what it takes to get into a beginner's mind. For me, it takes an understanding and a realization that I'm just not always right about even what I think about. I have to ask myself the question, is that really true? And I live with someone who will test me on that on a regular basis. And it's not a bad thing, trust me, although if you ask me in the moment, sometimes it is. But that's what we're here to do for each other. We're here to test each other. And most importantly, though, I'm here to test myself. And I ask myself those questions. Is this working for me? Am I happy with the way this is working in any area of my life? And we're going to do a little work with this. We're going to do a short process on it this morning. But as I go into this year, looking at what's happening in my life and what's working for me. And if it's not working for me, do I choose to do something about it? It comes down to that. Because you and I are creative beings. We're constantly creating. That which was spoken about in Genesis is happening constantly through you and me. It's a great roadmap, actually, to what we can do in our lives. Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science, said it like this. He said, in our ignorance of the truth, we have misused the highest power we possess. And so great is this power, so complete is our freedom in it, so complete the domain of law through it, that the misuse of this power has brought upon us the very conditions from which we suffer. We are bound because we are first free. The only power that can set us free is the very power that appears to bind us. That's a wild and crazy statement, isn't it? And it's powerful. Within that, the freedom that you and I have to come in with a clean slate at any time in our life, and it's a good time to do it right now in the first of the year, great physical time, say, you know, I'm free. What do I want to create in my life? How do I want my life to look? The Upanishads say it like this: as far as the mind extends, so far extends heaven. The moment I become conscious, aware, that I can recreate my experience, that I can transform it, then I get to take control of my life. So it starts with an exploration of my own thoughts and beliefs and looking again at what's happening within me. So I had a conversation just this weekend with someone close to me, and that person was pointing out how hard life has become. that life seems hard. You know, all the things going on the planet right now, and things with the economy. And of course, we've all gone through 10 years of the 2 years. I said 10 years. It feels like 10 years, right? We've gone through 2 years of the pandemic and dealing with that. So I had to ask myself the question after the conversation. I went back and had that conversation with myself, and I said, Michael, is your life hard? Is my life hard? Does my life feel hard? Well, I've got a lot of stuff going on. My job can often be very busy. I have issues going on in our family with our kids. And there's been turnarounds in the financial markets. No one can deny that, and that's had some impact on us. And there's been this never-ending soap opera of politics. And maybe you enjoy that and like it, so if you do, good. But there's been all these things, and layer in a little bit of the pandemic stuff going on top of it. And on top of everything, Mary Beth and I have been going through this massive renovation, this rehab in our house, which we're actually gone for 9 weeks, and we finally moved back in. And of course, we moved into a state of massive disorganization and boxes, which can drive a person, particularly Mary Beth, drives her crazy, and I'm not doing so well at times with it either. So there's all these things going on, right? So does my life feel hard? And what I concluded is no, I don't resonate. Nothing within me resonates with the idea of my life being hard. It does not feel hard to me. Yes, my life does feel somewhat chaotic at times. And yes, I have moments when things may feel hard, moments meaning hopefully 5 minutes or 15 minutes, maybe an hour even here and there. But overall, my life does not feel hard. I'm typically able to filter out most of the negative things going on in my life. And it's really about reframing. It's about seeing things through a new lens. So it goes sort of like this. Yes, I do have a very busy job. I'm very busy with my work. And that said, I love my work. I love what I do. Yes, we do have issues with our family sometimes. And I'm blessed to have 2 really cool, wonderful grandkids that I love spending time with. Yes, there have been declines in the financial markets, and there has been some impact. But I'm so blessed to know that I'm prosperous and that I am provided for all the time. And our remodel, yes, it's absolutely felt stressful at times, but that's a champagne problem. I'm so blessed to know that after 16 years, we were able to go in and actually remodel our house. You see, for any situation, we can actually go in and rework how we see the situation, and we can go back into the blessings taking place. That's the power of a beginner's mind, to know that, yes, things are going on out there. They're always going to be going on. There's always going to be stuff happening, right? That's kind of the beauty of life. But it's how I see the stuff going on in my life, how I frame it, how I filter it. That's the power of a beginner's mind. Beginner's mind is really not a destination. It's a journey. It's ongoing. It doesn't stop. But it's up to me to pay attention in each and every moment and ask myself those questions. Am I willing to be humble here? Am I willing to dismantle that old structure of knowing I have in my life about how things are supposed to look and have a different idea? As Raymond Charles Barker, one of the religious science ministers of many years ago, used to say to himself, when something wasn't happening right, he'd say, Barker, you need a new idea. So think that to yourself, For me, Speer, I need a new idea. I need to get my bloated nothingness out of the way sometimes. And again, fortunately, I've got Mary Beth to help me do that. And we all have partners and people in our life, most of us that we can turn to, and friends, and this community who can ask us to help us on this journey. And I slip back, believe me, all the time. Just because I've done this for years does not mean I don't slip off on this. And, our friend Martha Creek, who some of you know, says, I'm only a thought away. I'm only a thought away. I can just drag in my old beliefs that I carry around like a chain, like remember in Scrooge in Christmas Story, Marley came in with those chains he forged in life. I can drag those around, or I can choose to say, I'm not going to drag those old chains around anymore. It's really a powerful idea, isn't it? I can create something new. So what I'm going to do this morning is something a little bit different. Some of you may have expected perhaps a burning bowl ceremony. Has anyone ever done a burning bowl ceremony? Well, burning bowl ceremonies, many churches do those ceremonies. They do them in New Thought churches, other churches, where basically you look at what's going on in your life that doesn't serve you anymore, any anger, resentments, hurts that you have, things like that, and you go through a process, write on a piece of paper, and then you throw it into literally a burning bowl and you burn it up, symbolizing a release, that you're no longer going to carry that around with you. It's a practice of focusing on those old beliefs. Well, as I thought about that this week, and I want to add too something, that's actually part of a two-part process. First, you're going to release the old, and then you're going to bring in the new, which is part of what Reverend Kitty's going to be doing on January 15th, called a white stone ceremony. That's where you come back and put in place what you want, because letting go isn't enough. Letting go of something creates a vacuum, and the universe abhors a vacuum. Something's going to pour in and fill it. You want to fill it with what you desire, not just release the old. But as I thought about the burning bowl ceremony and the idea of burning up old ideas and all that, and I've done many of them, we've conducted them, we've attended them, and something just didn't resonate to me. As I thought back about it, I realized something was missing. And basically what's missing is this, that those ideas and thoughts and beliefs that I've been carrying around my whole life, be them good or not, are like my closest friends, right? They're part of me. They're part of you. Your thoughts and beliefs are part of who we are, and releasing them isn't just like kicking them out to the side of the curb or burning them up and they're gone. I actually watched a video this week from Ram Dass, who passed on not too long ago, a great spiritual teacher, and he talked about the grieving process we go through with relationships and losing people or losing things in our life. There's a grieving process. That grieving process that occurred to me applies to what we're talking about here today. The releasing of what hasn't served us really deserves to have a sense of dignity to it, deserves to have a sense of reverence, because anything in your life that's not serving you right now has been there for many different reasons. You might say that those old ideas and thoughts and beliefs are comfortable. They may not be great sometimes, but they're comfortable, right? We're carrying them around with us. I'm carrying them around with me. So the idea of having some reverence in terms of this letting go process is to start with the awareness that, number one, this is no longer serving me. This area in my life, this experience in my life is no longer working the way I want it to work. And then getting some awareness around what are the thoughts and beliefs that I've been carrying around that have supported this, that have encouraged it, that have brought it forth. Whether I'm aware of those or not, there's something supporting it, and I'm ready to release it. And then giving thanks to it. Really blessing and giving thanks, because just as I went through that list before of various areas of my life, I could see the blessing in each area. I could see the blessing in the busyness in my work, that I have a job I love to do. I could see a blessing in relationships, that I'm with people I love and care about. That's the key part here. There is a continuum. There is nothing wrong, there is no blame, and there is no bad in what we've been thinking about and bringing about. And I encourage you to pay attention to that, because it's very easy to go into spiritual bypass in these teachings. Spiritual bypass says, oh my gosh, I created this. I'm going to start beating up on myself because look at this mess I got myself into now, Ollie. It's a fine mess you got yourself into. We are where we are. The key part is to be gentle with ourselves, to gently and release with honor and giving thanks and homage, and then preparing to let something new into our lives. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take us into a meditation now. And during that process, I'll walk us through, and it's going to be relatively brief, but I'll walk us through a process just to kind of get your arms around one area of your life that you'd like to work with. And the process is so simple, you can take this with you and redo it and expand upon it as you need. So I'd like you just to let yourself be comfortable wherever you are, however you feel good. You may wish to close your eyes or not. And for those of you at home, just let yourself be present in whatever environment you're in and what works for you. As I know right now that the one Spirit, the one power, the one intelligence, God, is present in this place and through and as each and every one of us. I accept and know that there is no separation in spirit. There is only one. So accepting and knowing this right now, I give thanks for this beautiful first day of the new year, on January 1st, 2023. I give thanks for the blessings of this thing called life. I give thanks for being here in this beautiful Unity, Naperville. And among these friends and the community that surrounds me. And I give thanks for all these things. I give thanks for Reverend Kitty and for guiding us and leading us so many Sundays every week and beyond. I give thanks for all the family and support I have in my life. And knowing that I am led, guided, and directed in the right and perfect way, I know right now that as I join together with everyone in this room, in this process, and everyone online watching, we allow ourselves right now to just take a moment to look at areas of our life, the area of relationships, the area of prosperity, the area of creative expression or work, and the area of physical health and well-being. I call those the four corners of my life. To just focus on one particular area that wants to be looked at today. And as I take some time to look at that particular area, I let myself be present to it, the experience, and what the feeling is that I wish to release and be moving beyond. And I invite you right now to take a moment, to take a minute just to do that part of the process, to get clear on one area of your life that you'd like to release and change and transform. And as you get in touch with that particular area, whatever it happens to be, and pay attention to the feelings coming up within you, that perhaps it's something that's working well, but I'd like to expand upon it and have it grow even greater. Perhaps it's something that's been felt heavy in my heart that I'd like to release. Perhaps it's an area that just is not bringing the greatest joy into my life right now. Just gently ask yourself, what is it that wants to be known here? What wants to be known? And I look deeply into this experience too now. And I ask myself, what are the blessings that I have experienced? What good has come into my life in some way or into the life of someone else through this experience? Or what good do I expect is coming forth? And take a moment just to focus on that. So I bless right now all these experiences of everyone and my experiences of knowing that they have served me well, that the thoughts and beliefs that have created and sustained my experience of life have helped me to get where I am. And that right now I can just say thank you, God, for that experience and knowingness and whatever's coming out of it for me. Because I know right now that this too shall bless. This too shall bless. And in doing this, I gently and lovingly say thank you to those thoughts and beliefs that have brought me here today, that have gotten me through to this experience. And know that Spirit is already aligned with the idea of a gentle and loving release and ready to open me up to greater possibilities in this area through the expansion of my mind and my consciousness, and knowing that I am led, guided, and directed to know what I need to know in each and every situation, in each and every day. This act of creation is continuing through me right now. And I know that as I gently release and create this new opening, a beginner's mind within me, I have created a field of possibility and open a new space within my life for greater good to pour in, and for a beautiful knowingness of that which I truly do desire, because I know that as I understand, frame out, and plant the seed of that which I desire, God always says yes. It is the Father's good pleasure to give me this kingdom. It is God's good pleasure to give me this kingdom right here and now. So I say thank you, Spirit. Thank you, God. Thank you for the blessings of this day and for this beautiful new year, for the release and for the new openings in my beautiful beginner's mind. I turn this over to Spirit now, because I know Spirit has done everything necessary already and already knows how to provide for my good. I'm ready, God. I am ready. Send me in right now, Spirit. Send me in. I release, I let go. I let it be so right here and now by saying, and so it is.